Hey guys, this is Orsi. This is going to be the second VR to Rumor Haven, who created two wonderful decks to play with. For people who are waiting for their Buffy deck, or for people who have their Buffy deck but still want to talk about Buffy. And I already posted the first one, which is about the Scooby Gang. And this one is all about the big bads, the main enemies, or position for each season. So there's gonna be 7 season plus a bonus because I was thinking about that. So the first season, and I really tried not to pick the same ones, but I had to do it for the first one because the first season, the master, honestly, before she said which deck she was thinking about, I was like, the horror tarot. It's gonna be the horror tarot because it was that horror, not too scary horror, but still horror type of way the master was depicted, or brought to life. And there's just like cards in this, the style, the fingers, the faces, which are exactly like the way the master looks, which I should have just like looked for the card that I wanted to show the vampire, but I forgot. So while I look for it, I wanted to say that plus how I think about this deck particularly is I have the Dark Forest, which is by the same illustrator, and I think about the Horror Tarot as the darkest corner of that forest. But it's also a place where you know that if you enter, you're gonna get in trouble. So it's kind of not a place that you just wander in and suddenly there's, like vampires. It's more about that you feel that there is, trouble and you choose to go down there. And also, evil is confined in those corners, just like the master was confined in his little pocket next to the or above the mouth. So these horrors will stay where they are unless you go there and finally and poke at them. And I kind of feel like it was like similar with the master as well. And now I have like tiny swords. So I tried to think about a different deck for the master, but the horror tarot is just perfect, and I don't have anything else that has that gothic style of vampires that this deck has. So for the master, it's the horror tarot for sure. Okay, second season we had Spike, Drew. I mean, the way Spike enters the scene, it's just still epic. And then Angelus. And as Rumor was saying, there's a three of them. There's an evil trio. So, and I was just thinking that I don't have a deck that depicts working well together when we're evil. So I started to think, what is it that these three has in common? And that is having no humanity. And usually in my decks, that's a positive thing. So, obviously, I'm not picking the Majestic Earth because I hate this deck. This is absolutely one of my favorite decks of all time. It's gonna be on my favorite list, I think, forever and ever. But it doesn't really have humans in it, and I felt like because of they are all from a time when when I think about it, it's the art. Of course, it's not that style of art on top of this deck, because why would it be? But like the where's the box? This one, the Fool. It's that style. It's that era, and art. I do think about them as like the lovers of art, because why not? When you spend that much time on Earth, you can just indulge in earthly things. But it's also missing the human elements from most of the cards. It's just nature or cities, which normally is a good thing, and I absolutely adore this deck. But they definitely bring upheaval with them. And look at that. Isn't that like Drew standing in front of the sunrise that she needs to, get the hell out before it actually rises? So, I was thinking about this, that the art, the finery, and the no human element, that is what makes me think about those three. Plus, there's a bonus deck for Drew, because for Drew, I think the Dark Mansion, because how skinny she was, honestly, like beyond healthy, obviously, but the style is just a reminder of a little, like a crazy, because she wasn't right-minded for a good reason, but this world could be the inside of her head in a way, and all the long necks and skinny arms and everything like that just reminds me of the Drusilla. So yeah, I thought that Drew deserved the Dark Mansion to be her own as well. Oh my god, how many dogs can just bark? And one of them is ours. Okay, next one is the season 3 and the mayor. And that was also hard. This was hard because she picked the zombie tarot, and I think it's perfect because it's quirky, but it can be like scary as well. But it has style and it's fun, just like a mayor. Because I really appreciated with his character that we were not just talking about the evil side of things, but because his relationship with Faith was, like, honestly, like father and daughter, there was care there. So I was thinking about what decks that I have that depicts that demony but quirky things, and this is where I'm a little cheating because I chose this deck for someone else in the other video, but honestly, besides the zombie tarot, I don't have anything else but the Deviant Moon, which I think is just, it's quirky, it's fun, but it's demony in a way. It's about getting everything for yourself a little. It's a little selfish word in a way. So I think that, but there's that care that he showed towards Faith. So they try to be a little tiny happy family, even if with all the messed up, like details and whatnot. So yeah, I do think that the Deviant Moon is good for the mayor. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun. He was fun. Okay, that was season 3. Then we're moving on to season 4 with the initiative, and which I honestly I don't like. Professor Walsh. I'm just glad she died. I'm sorry to say that, she was annoying. So there's 2 decks for this one. One of them is the Neo Moon, because I had to have some sci-fi technology related tarot deck, and I don't have anything else but this one. But there's a lot of wires, a lot of we're living in a world where other people are deciding what is good for us, and they know better. They're gonna just wire you up and make you into something like Adam did. And like a bunch of, it feels like a bunch of experiments going not so well in this deck. So I think that for the initiative, one of the deck is the Neo Moon. But then I was thinking about the Zombie Oracle, because there's quite a few cards in it that actually really fits what the initiative was all about. And that is, for example, technology. Oh, the ever-seeing eye of cameras, inside threat with viruses and just experimenting, opportunism, taking the law into your own hand and just deciding who or what has the right to live. Outside threat, there was zombies and was that zombies? I think so. But monsters outside that they had to deal with, and history repeating itself because they just couldn't learn from their mistakes. The company that what we keep, did they use the brain? They use it in different ways, and the solution for them was to just inject and to put the stuff into your brain and deal with it, which in the end brought lost alliances when Riley was getting in and out. So I kind of feel like that this deck, especially warning to red enter and toxicity, especially with these cards, are a really good fit for the initiative. So yeah, I chose the Zombie Oracle and the Neon Moon. Okay, next one. Glory, season 5 Glory. Glory was brilliant. I really appreciated her as the enemy, especially with her whole, like storyline with Dawn. I think that was really cool, a cool idea. And I was thinking about it. Glory was beautiful. She was strong. She was ancient, and just wild, and like power you cannot handle. And when I think about the Fae, this is exactly what I think about. So I obviously picked the Fae deck for her. And the deck that I picked was the Terror of the Hidden Realm. I think that's the name. Which is on the list of decks that I want to work with this year. It's full of beautiful, like, I'm not saying humans because it's Fae, but there's a side. I mean, Ben is not here, I don't think, but, these creatures are beautiful. And some look like David Bowie, but most of them don't. And there's raw power in this deck. And something that you're not supposed to mess with. You're not playing around because their world is not like ours, at least how I, perceive Fae. So it's just something that can kick your ass without, blinking. Because you're less than they are. Not as powerful, not as ancient, not as knowledgeable, and all that jazz. So for Glory, I think a Fae deck is... Oh, look at that face with the Queen of Wands. Isn't she perfect? Because Glory is the Queen of Wands. The shadowy side, but still. She would be a perfect Queen of Wands for that. I mean, Glory is in the deck. I just can't remember right now what she ended up being. I mean, in the Buffy deck. Okay, so that was season 5. And then there's season 6 with the trio, which honestly I don't perceive them as the big bad. I mean, what Andrew does at the end is obviously horrible, but it was more so a human thing and a fucked up thing, and I don't know, than, like big enemy in a way, as how the others were built up, for a whole season. And but at the same time they show they show what bored idiots can, how much harm bored idiots can cause, who are so full of themselves and think that they know better than everybody else. And I kind of looked at the trio, I think, back then as more in a funny kind of way, because now that I was rewatching it, I was trying to find that interest in Andrew that I had back then, when I'm like, Andrew is a little weasel and I don't like him. And okay, the way he ends up, through the seasons or in the 7th season, he's still not a good guy. Which is great, and for a character, not everybody is gonna pull off Spike. But I'm like, I understood Jonathan better than Andrew this time around. And but Warren, God no, Warren was Warren is everything that can be wrong with men. I mean, not. I don't want to generalize, but there is that type of human who is like Warren, and yeah. So obviously, I don't have a deck like that. So because why would I have? But I was thinking about what else happened in that season that was a big deal, and that was, after Buffy, she had to come back, and all the feelings that came with it. What's more with feelings? I mean, the soundtrack is in my head. So I was thinking about that. One of the biggest issue was unresolved feelings for this season. Like everybody had to deal with shame and guilt and whatnot. And I have the Reclaim Oracle, which deals with emotional issues. And somebody's doing something outside, like anger and what is fair, and the absence, like, Buffy's absence, the joy she's coming back. Is she really present or not? Like betrayal, like there's just, faith, ha ha ha. So, and courage, and control, and all these issues were a big part of how the season was going on and what they actually had to deal with. These were as much as an enemy as Warren and Jonathan and Andrew were. So for that, the big foe for season 6, I chose emotions and the Reclaim Oracle. And then we have season 7 with the first evil, and obviously I don't have a deck that works with the energy of the first evil, because I would burn it if it had ever come anywhere near me, if I would dare to burn it, to be honest. So I was just thinking that just by visually what deck represents, for example, Caleb, and the energy of how I would imagine the first would look like, and I don't hate this deck, so don't misunderstand why I chose it. It's just that the Lost Hollow, I kind of feel like aesthetically represents the first, because of the blue, the red and the black, and that some tiny white, and the weirdness of this deck can represent the first, and maybe how you would, perceive how the first would look like. So, I'm not hating on this deck. It's not an evil deck. I'm not saying that. It's just that it has that sense of feeling that I visually, color-wise, that I would think could represent the first. And it's funny because I didn't remember that the first time that I saw, or we've seen with my sisters, Nathan Fillion, it was Buffy, because I was like, oh, he was in Buffy as well. And then my sister told me that that's how we know him, and because, he became a favorite, especially Firefly. And you know what? Destiny 2. I just appreciate that he's voicing characters in Destiny 2, and I really miss playing with that game. But yeah, this was the seventh season of Buffy, which I just watched recently, and I honestly recommend that before working with the deck. It's a really good reminder for things. But I still have a bonus deck because of the way Rumor, sorry. I was thinking about something. Finished the video with the ARG, like the girl ARG monster. And I was thinking that I have a deck for that like tiny monster at the end as well. And why not? And that's not like a big bet, but it's just a bonus little fun. And that's the Shadowland. And I think the Shadowland represents that girl ARG, just, ending of every episode you ever watched of Buffy so well. It's quirky, it's fun, it's cute, it's not scary, but it's trying to be scary, or thinks of it is scary sometimes. So yeah, maybe it's like stupid, but I thought that it was just the girl arc tag. which I think is fun. So yeah, oh god, filming a bunch of videos all at once is not a good idea, but I don't have time to do them otherwise, so this is what you get. So yeah, this was my big bad decks for Buffy, and I absolutely loved watching, live doing. I'm gonna be watching others' selections, so please do participate, even if just in the comments below. Watch the original video, what other people's responses, because it's gonna be fun. And yeah, I do think that the Buffy deck is really good, and I'm just so happy that I have it. It's a good fandom deck. And this was, like a good idea to create tags around a deck, and I think we should need that. We should do that more. It's fun. So yeah, thank you so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.